Oh, I've got those headphones.
Which ones?
Oh, they gave me.
Just look, it's fine. Just stop moving around.
Can I get some more real estate on my knee?
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode, or the first episode of the Cock Single podcasts. As you can tell, I've lost a ginger friend and gained another one, slightly taller. This is Henry Swarbrick. Do you want to say hello?
Hello.
Right. Maybe say a little bit about yourself or no?
I'm Henry Swarbrick. Some of you might have watched the Better YouTube channel. But yeah, I'm taking Harry's spot for today. We've got Morgan Boulding.
Yeah, we've kind of wrote Morgan in very last minute, so he doesn't know much about what we're talking about or what we are talking about or about any of the stuff we're doing at the end. So, but yeah, do you want to say a little bit about yourself, Morgan?
Yeah, I'm Morgan. I'm not a vlogger. That's about it.
Where'd you row?
Brookes.
And you just come back from a training camp?
Just came back from a viz, little
Yeah.
training camp. It was good
The
fun.
GB team?
With
Yeah.
Gibbs, got a tan.
Very nice.
Unlike this guy.
Well, he's been on the bed, so it's fine. So we're going to talk a little bit first about School's Head, then we're going to go on to talking about training camps, and then we've got a few questions on the Insta, and then lastly we're going to play a little game that we've come up with called the Grand Challenge Cup. It's called the Grand Challenge Cup because it's roughly taken us 5 minutes and 53 seconds to think of it. So we'll do that at the end. First of all, we're going to talk a little bit about School's Head, which was today, the day of recording. Who won, Morgan? Do you know?
Shiplake.
Shiplake won. Well done.
Is that the first time ever?
The mates of Shiplake.
I don't know. Is it the first time ever?
Must be their first win.
Rory, do we know?
No idea.
No, don't know. It's
Yeah,
the
it's
first
their
time
first
ever.
win. Come on. We'll see you all in.
Well done
All
for
8 of
this.
you at Brookes.
So Ethan
Yeah,
came second.
half a second, I think.
Half a second. And St Paul's had a little bit of fall from grace. We're saying a fall from grace. Do you want to put it out there that much? Or?
Still broke the record.
They still broke the record.
Wait, St Paul's broke the record.
Yeah, they broke the record.
So they came third.
And then Shiplake, like all three of them.
To be fair, they would
Oh,
be the
right.
first.
3 crews broke the record.
Well, no, St Paul's been the first crew to break it because they finished line first, didn't they? And they got beaten. So
They finished the line
they
first.
had the record. They had the record for
Because they went off first. Yeah, yeah.
So they had the record for about 30 seconds, and then it was downhill from there.
Oh, my first. It wasn't my first School's Head.
You're boasting about how you beat Jack in the quad.
Yeah, I beat Jack Beaumont, yeah.
Yeah.
He's pretty good now, so
What went
I'm
wrong?
sure I'd probably be better at spelling if
Yeah.
I'd have kept going
Well,
on that trajectory. But unfortunately, I went down sweeping, which
Yeah. Well,
hasn't
Sculling's
quite
easier.
gone so well. Huh?
Sculling's easier, isn't it?
Oh, it's piss.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
going-
We've got a great picture of you from your School's Head. We'll show that a bit later.
Yeah, I got spread on toast.
Yeah.
Thanks, Murphy, for
Yeah.
that. That was a great photo. No, we came second that year. I think we went into that race thinking we had a good chance of winning, but we had a bit of a scrap with Radley round the outside, I think, of Hammersmith Bend. And I think we lost to Aberdeen by 2 or 3 seconds. So I guess compared to today's result, it was quite a big margin, really, 2 or 3 seconds compared to what was Shiplake win by today? I think
Half a second,
Half a
so-
second, something. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so still not bitter at all.
So I think school rowing has really stepped on since we were
be
juniors.
fair-
I think the half a second is reflective of the fact that it's a lot better now, and
I
they're
think
pulling silly erg scores, which we
Yeah,
can't
it's
do
mad.
sometimes.
Yeah.
there was a big.
And we've been
I
at
mean,
school for a
definitely.
really long time.
Yeah, I mean, that St Paul's crew last year was pretty exceptional, really, wasn't it?
We raced them, didn't we, Morgan, at Henley.
Oh yeah.
We had a little duel, right? We ended up racing them. I think they were going to do a piece to the barrier, was it?
It was
the
the barrier, yeah.
And we were told we're going to the Forley, so we were a length up, I think, after the
They won
barrier.
by length, and they
were
seemed.
length.
I was like, wow, they're great because we went pretty hard, and they seemed really disappointed. I was like, oh.
I think I told myself that I was going fairly accurate pace representation, but I think what did we put? I think we did like a 1:38 or something into the barrier.
Yeah, I don't know.
Then we finished. We ended up having a massive. It dropped down big time after the
Well, 'cause
barrier
you
to
carried on
Forley.
going to Forley.
It was probably the slowest piece I think we've ever probably of the whole track. I think we would have been by quads or something if the time from the barriers the Forley was taken. We went into the docks and Skinny Matt Narty, for those who don't know, just
He's not skinny, by the way. He's not skinny.
completely. He just did an absolute runner. I mean, where the hell is this bloody? Where's he gone? He never lifted the boat at the best of times, but this was taking the piss because obviously we were all feeling a little bit worse for wear because we had just done what turned out to be like 3 minutes, like fully flat out. And Pete found him 5-10 minutes later. I'm like, oh, mate, what have you been up to? He goes, mate, honestly, been throwing up in the toilets.
Well, on race pace
Mate,
to Forley, yeah?
He'd been chundering in the toilets for a good 3 minutes after racing the school kids at St
Oh,
Paul's, which I
dear.
don't think they know. But to be fair, I'm sure they'll be happy to know that Nartive pulled his ring off to beat some school kids by.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they step on towards Nat schools. I'm sure Bobby Thatcher's got a few tricks up his sleeve. I mean, they rode pretty beautifully last year. I think that 8 was pretty awesome to watch.
But yeah, School's Head doesn't really matter, does it?
Okay,
It's
I mean,
like the least important one out of 3. If you want to win one,
I've heard School's Head is the best one to win because obviously I only did it once and won it once, by 8 seconds. So, yeah.
but School's Head is the least important of 3. So,
Yeah, I mean, so I think we've done enough. I mean, do we want to talk about the controversy a little bit? But we don't really know that much about it, so we can't talk that much.
well, we've got to get Raw on camera.
Controversy.
Controversy.
Yeah, well, they said,
Well, no, I know what the word means. I'm asking.
Just checking. So they let the J15 boys 8, Champ 8, race instead of the J15 and not the J15 girls 8.
Oh right.
That was a little bit controversial.
That's not very today, is it?
That's so 2019.
Yeah, you've just come back from a training camp in lovely Somerset. I've just come back from a training camp in Spain. And Morgan, you've just been to a viz with the GB rowing team, which is in
Portugal.
We're going to start off with Wimbledon because that's obviously
The best one.
maybe not the best one, but it's where all of us have been. We want to talk about what makes a good training camp, what are the benefits of a training camp, and maybe a few stories that we got from these training camps, especially Wimbledon. I think we've all got some quite good experiences there, and some other not so quite good experiences. So we're going to start with Wimbledon. What did you think of? What was the point of Wimbledon this year? What are the positives and negatives of Wimbledon? Would you say?
Well, like any training camp, I think the main aim is obviously try and pick up speed, try and improve your physiology on the water and stuff like that as well. So at Wimbledon, we're focusing on not so much mileage as such, which a lot of other training camps do focus on. It's more kind of high intensity speed work, building throughout the time we're there. So there's a big Wimbledon lake, and we use...
It's like a horseshoe shape.
Yeah, with an arm. Well, half a horseshoe, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we just use the arm, the longest bit.
Which is about 1,500 metres, right?
Maybe just a bit less.
Yeah.
Depending on how long the piece... Well, it changes every
Yeah,
day.
it changes depending on the level of water or how much it's rained. The finish changes if it's...
Sometimes we finish through a bend, sometimes
Yeah.
we don't. What we're trying to do is if we can try and implement the race rhythm we want when we're tired, hopefully when we're fresh and stuff, when we're ready to race, the rhythm comes quite easily and stuff like that. So I think that's the main aim we try to get out of it. And obviously they are hard. They are probably compared to... If you compare your Bagnolas one,
Yeah, I mean, Bagnolas is very, very different. I think we were more focused on, especially this camp, the kind of like January, February camp that we go on. It's more mileage, getting in the mileage, improving the physiology rather than we mix around in the boat. So this year I was in an 8-4 pair, just trying to do like 40k a day and weights, that kind of stuff, with a few pieces like thrown in there, but the pieces aren't necessarily the most important thing. I remember the first one we did, right?
No,
the first one I did was it must have been the first one you did as well.
Yeah.
The January one.
Yeah.
Where there was like 50 people in the top room, and they called it the Anne Frank suite.
Yeah,
and it was pissing down with rain. There was no hot water in the showers, in the digs that we went to.
the pressure of the shower.
The pressure of showers, where it would literally like dribble on you,
It's like a rat
and you'd be there
pissing.
like, oh god, this is so warm. And you had to be the first
against the wall, because
Yeah.
obviously the pressure wasn't
Yeah.
strong enough to get off the wall.
Yeah, you had to be the first one in there as well because whatever hot water it was went after about 2 people, and then like people using the hair dryers to dry the kit.
I mean, obviously it's grim now, but everything used to be free rate, and you used to be forced to go on the beers. So 2 half days and two double session full days. So yeah, where it differs to the Bagnolas training camp, obviously we're doing no like gym work, no erging at all.
Yeah.
It's purely water sessions, and it's the same format throughout the whole time we're there. So I think now we end up doing
Up down.
Yeah, it used to be up down, like free rate kind of thing, and then it changed to when obviously we kind of came along to
Yeah, when I flat my back.
just up down, but building the rates, and then we get a recovery leg. I say it's a recovery leg. It's
gone soft, mate.
it's the pigs being sent to slaughter on each run, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you're going to have to end yourself on the next one. And now I've got telemetry. Obviously, there's no hiding from everything.
You'd swap it over every run. That used to be quite good.
You
fun,
see,
actually.
is the launch of death, the orange
Oh,
launch of
yeah.
death. And you
Can't
pray.
see.
No, the
You
best thing was that he'd swap people and everyone would think it was their sea race. And then as you start your second run, he's off looking somewhere else.
Yeah.
Doesn't see the margin and you're like...
Yeah. What's going on? Yeah.
But yeah, so it has changed a bit since.
When I first came, I wasn't like a big rower. People didn't know who I was.
And they do now.
They don't, no, nothing's changed now. Nothing's changed now.
Same
But,
shit.
like, I would,
Different club.
I wouldn't have spoken to people like when I was there. It was like Sebron, Tim, The older guys, I guess like Holty, Tex, and Tex wasn't around really when I was in my first year.
He's coach,
But-
right?
No, it was a year after. But you like you would like then speak to them while you're on the beers, and you'd be like kind of like accepted then. And then it was only after I came back from my first Wimbledon camera, I was like, oh yeah, like I feel one of the boys.
Yeah, no, I thought for squad integration it was definitely a good thing.
My favourite story was one of the rowers. I think this was maybe my first year. One of the rowers went up to Henry and
Oh yeah.
one of the rowers just goes up to him and goes, "Henry, when are you going to get a proper job?" And Henry like turns around to him like, "Sorry." I can't, like, quite taken aback by what he's just been asked by one of his rowers. He goes, no, Henry, when are you going to get a proper job?
Oh,
Henry's still like quite confused. Yeah, he's about to flip his shit.
Proper job actually.
And one of the pints on the bar was called Proper Job.
Proper
Because
Job.
we're down south,
Yeah.
down in the southwest.
It's like, no, look, get a proper job, mate.
Get a proper job. It's a pint.
Same that kind of time as Capron or Cooper, one of them football kid, who was the biggest Arsenal fan of all time. So we got him a shot of Campari, obviously, because he bled red.
Oh, really?
And he wouldn't drink it. Football kid wouldn't drink it. I think his best mate Capron drank it for him.
Really?
As a result, we taped his Total 90 boot to the ceiling.
Oh, the Simmons. Oh, I don't know if we can talk about that. The Simmons.
So
one.
yeah, he's because he always walked around in his Astros, because obviously you never know when you get
When you get call up, shin pads in as well. Shin
Yeah,
pads in the
literally
bag.
full on, always football gear as well. And so because he didn't drink his shot of Campari, I think a few of the guys taped his Astros to the ceiling, which
Yeah.
obviously he can reach. Morehouse, I think, was my favourite, where he ran his own mattress out.
Oh yeah.
We convinced him.
Oh no!
So
Forget about all these stories.
Morehouse, we came upstairs and we managed to convince him that, obviously this girl Lexi again, who took a load of shit, that we'd grabbed her mattress and it was his responsibility to have to take it and throw it outside onto the church roof, step off the plate. So he grabbed this mattress, and I've never seen him shift so quick. He ran down those stairs. Meanwhile, Johnny J was holding the mattress back from Will Morehouse. And Tom McElroy comes over with the Henry the Hoover and starts sucking it. So it's Johnny J completely loses it, at which point he loses his grip. Morehouse then almost falls down the stairs with his mattress. He's right out the window, and he absolutely launches it onto this parish roof. And bearing in mind, it's chucking it down the rain at the point as well. He comes upstairs.
But yeah, like, so pleased.
He's come up these stairs, and he's looked at us like, lads, I've only gone and done it. I told you I had the rocks, and I've done it. So we're like, right, time to go to bed. Going to bed. He comes into the room, and he clicks in his head. He's like,
Oh no!
he sprints down the stairs, and his mattress is absolutely sodding, and he couldn't reach it as well, which is the best part. And he was like, boys, you gotta help me, get it. And we were looking at him like, no, this is your fault.
So there's loads of bunk beds. You stay in bunk beds, kind of thing, and there's like maybe 6 or 7 bunk beds to a room. I think in between sessions, I think it was Callum Jones. He got a bit bored, and he was in a room with again Sebring. I think Sebring was like, "Mate, I bet you can't eat that toilet roll." And then it was like, "No, I can eat the toilet roll. And then you pull off like 5 slices, and then he ate the toilet roll. And then because he did it, Sebring was like, "No, I'm going to do that. And it turned into like a competition, and then it was like, who can eat the 5 slices of toilet paper first or quickest, and you got the stopwatch out, and it went around all the dorms and all that kind of stuff. And now it's more of like an initiation.
That's the thing.
At Brookes.
If you ever come in for Brookes for an open day, make sure you practice.
Do the 5 slice challenge, yeah.
There's a lead.
I think, is it 3 now? Because I thought someone...
Well, it
almost
depends. I
choked.
think the new slices, because obviously we've got like industrial toilet
Yeah.
paper. Like the slices about that long. Each one.
Yeah.
So you got 5 slices of that,
Yeah, you know you're going to... I personally, I think as a first year or second year, I think Wimbledon is essential for your rowing development. I think it hardens you up. I think it...
Mentally,
physiologically, it makes your back stronger as well if you have an injection after it, like I did after doing 63 1500s.
Soft.
And then and you put your hand up after on the last day, having done 3. You've made your way into the first 8, and then you put your hand up. You're like, oh, my back's like fucked. I can really row very well. And then my back went. And then put a hand up, and then I was like, Henry, my back's really sore. I think I pulled something. And he was just in the launch, and he was like, "What do you want me to do?" And I was thinking, preferably I'd like it if we went in because my back's sore. And he was like, "No, if you go in, there's 7 other people you're rowing with, and you've ruined their training session too."
I was like, no, you're not
Very
ruining
much.
my training.
You
I was stroking it.
You were struggling as well.
Well, you
at the
were
time.
stroking
I was fully blown at
You were-
stroke.
you
And I was
were-
like, look, Henry,
You were
James
struggling
is
a
back, Scott. We
I
need
was
to end the
struggling.
session.
The other 7 guys were like, James, if that's what is best for
Yeah.
you, mate, we'll
I
happily
was
go for you.
baggage in
Stroke.
the
The most
stroke.
noble
Yeah.
decision one can do
Yeah.
is put their hand in the air. And
Yeah, I think it's changed now. But yeah, that was a bad day.
because you've been on, obviously, Wimbledon, you've seen the best of the Wimbledons. How does the Aviz camp? How did it?
Are you hosting this podcast now?
Yeah, I've hijacked this podcast now, so
No, I'm interested. You've just been taking the piss out of me. I'm interested.
That's quite easy to do.
Great. So now at the end of each of these podcasts, that we're going to try and do a couple of a month. We're going to do this like game that I said earlier called the Grand Challenge Cup. All three of us. Have you done it? Well, two and a half ish. Have chosen an 8 of rugby players this week because it's the end of the Six Nations this weekend, so being a bit topical here. And we're going to choose an 8 of people who we think would make a boat go fast of Six Nation players. Leave a comment down below whose team or whose 8 you think is better, and then maybe leave a comment of an 8 you would think would be fast as well. I'll go first.
right,
So usually the most attractive and the best
is in the 2 seat.
is in the stroke seat.
Oh.
Like the whole kind of A revolves around him. So I've gone for the best player in the Six Nations, and that's Owen Farrell at stroke seat. 7 seat is usually the person with the worst haircut. Last man in usually, so usually on the bench, and he has the worst chat. And I've gone for Harry Williams, the prop, plays for England. Yeah, so 6, bit of a leader. You need a leader in the 6 seat. Not as good looking as the stroke seat or charismatic, but you still want someone who's quite solid, quite a tall bloke, long limbs. So I've gone for Alun Jones, captain of Wales. 5 seat, gone for Watts, like sheer Watts. Horsepower, bit of length on it. Mario Itoje. Bet that'll be quite long.
Is he Italian?
No. He's also a good dancer as well.
Did you say Mario?
Mario Itoje.
Oh, I thought you said Mario.
Do you know who he is?
No. Well, why would I ask if he was Italian?
Oh dear. Number 4 at 4 seat, I've kind of put power to weight out the window a bit and just focused on power. I've gone for Matteo Bastareaud, the big French centre.
So you've got a back in your middle.
In my 4 seat, yeah, but he's not really a back, is he?
He's a back. So you've got a back in your middle.
Well, yeah, I've just gone for athleticism. 3, Sean O'Brien, bit of a meat cake, quite thick, so we've gone for a 3 seat. Probably rushes too. Balpair, you need someone a little bit silky, kind of like sets the boat up quite well. So I've gone for Fafana, French centre. And then Liam Williams, quite good under high ball, 10 out of 10 for balance, that kind of stuff. And Cox, I've gone for Dupont, the French scrum half, because he's always mouthy and talks a lot of shit.
Okay, so I'm going to go from the bow seat first. So I've gone for, I want someone light, nimble to get those bows out of the water because the rest of my 8 is definitely going to sink.
Yeah.
So I've gone for Dan Robson. 2 seat, I want someone who's going to chat for the boys, chat the boat up, keep the boys up and lively. So I've gone for big Carl Sinclair. I think there's only one man for that role. That's big Carl. 3 seat, obviously the big donkey seat. So I've gone for Alun Jones.
Oh, okay.
It's more appropriate in 3 seat because he's a donkey. He's not so much.
Yeah, but okay, fine.
I wouldn't put down near the rhythm. So 4 seat, I've gone for height. Saying 2 meters 10. I've gone for Devon Toner, the Irish second row.
Big bloke.
He's a big old boy and he's Irish, so he's going to be a bit of a nutcase. 5 seat, I've gone for Sebastian Varmahina, the French / Fijian. Obviously, I'm sure Morgan knows this.
Yeah.
6 seat, I'll go for Mark Wilson because I think he's just a bit of a unit. 7 seat, I've gone for obviously somebody who I thought was pretty similar to me in every attribute. So I've gone for Courtney Laws.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
Straight seat, I was thinking about Owen Farrell. Obviously, because he's just a bit of a leader and stuff. I was also thinking Johnny Sexton because he's also a pretty decent leader. But I've actually gone for someone who just seems really silky and seems to be doing everything right at the moment. Who's Henry Slade?
Yeah.
Slade.
Good looking as well. Yeah. Charismatic.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
And Coxie, I've gone for Finn Russell actually, even though he's a little bit heavier than my Dan Robson role,
Yeah,
he's still only 87 kilos. I'm sure he can sweat down to the 55. But I think he reads the game pretty well, and I think he'd be able to read a race pretty well. So I think that's why I've gone for that.
You've heard all 3 of our rates. Leave a comment down below whose 8 you think is best. Also leave a comment saying what your 8 would be as well. So Henry's put an Instagram story up for people to ask us some questions.
I'm sure you'll link my...
Yeah, his Instagram will be down below. People have asked him a load of questions here, and we've got a few that we're going to answer now.
I'll start off with thank you Tom_full1. Best rowing win. What are we saying? Morgan, you go first. Go.
Best rowing win.
Yep, that's the question.
Probably First Ladies Plate we did.
Wait, how long ago was that?
That was
2017.
2 years ago. I think that was always like my aim when I sort of did my first year at Brookes, and I think I raced the visitors in just a boat that was kind of left over after everyone else had been in Henley boats. I was kind of thinking, yeah, ladies a pretty cool event. I don't know who won it that year, but he hasn't won much.
You pulled along with the visitors last year.
Yeah. Yeah, breaking all the records in the visitors was nice. Probably the first Henley win, 2016 Temple.
With the boys.
Yeah, after losing the year before to quite a close race.
Mine.
What was your
probably
first?
probably the first Henley win, I think.
Yeah.
You know, kind of the first of the we lost I think to Neuhaus in 2015, wasn't it?
Yeah, year before.
I think it was pretty gutting that because obviously we beat them by quite a bit in Ghent. I think we went in saying we underestimated them to say the least.
I think
we did, really.
You might have done, but
That's
probably why we lost.
This is quite an interesting one though from It's Matthew Davies. Fast hands or slow hands James? Which one do you choose and why?
I mean, up at rate, the hands move. You don't stop. You don't pause up at rate anyway. It's just when you paddle around. I think the handle should always keep moving, and make it doesn't matter how fast it moves around the back, but it will always keep moving because you make the shape.
Then why don't you do that?
I literally do
Can
that.
you explain why you don't?
I mean,
go on then, Morgan.
there isn't a correct way of rowing because obviously everyone makes different things work for them. But no, I think we kind of go with try and keep it quite fluid. I wouldn't say it's necessarily fast, not necessarily slow.
Yeah. The
but
idea
I think
is consistent speed from the finish to the catch,
Yeah.
and the handle doesn't stop moving.
Try and
So it's
keep
just
it
forward and back.
one speed. I think is always what we try and do. From Hutton,
Who?
underscore.
Okay,
That's it. Hutton underscore.
Right.
Least/most favourite part of rowing.
My least favourite part is probably the importance or the weight of an ergo. And my favourite part is when a boat's going well and it feels like an addictive feeling.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah. I think least favourite part is probably lack of time to do other things. It's just like the sport is based on a certain distance which requires a lot of volume of training rather than intense training, which means you spend a lot of your day doing training. At the sort of higher end, you do up sort of 2-3 sessions a day, which means you don't really have much time to do other things. What I enjoy is just you do it all for the racing at the end of the season. I love just coming into the last bit and seeing what you've got in the last 250 metres against the other.
Because he doesn't use it in the first half, that's why.
You've got to not try.
It's so
Morgan
classic.
goes for the,
Absolutely
chill,
classic.
let the lads pull you
It's a
along.
bit like
for the
poker.
1500,
It's a
isn't
bit
it?
like poker. If you're holding aces, you don't show it till the last 250. And then it's a
Yeah.
see you later.
That's Morgan's
That is
favourite.
too late and you lose by a canvas.
Yeah,
So.
that's true. JJ Dubois said favourite workout on the erg.
Anything short
Yeah.
and easy.
AK Tech.
AK Tech. That would be my favourite. Yeah. Really working on the form on the ergo.
Yeah. So something we'll try and do again at another point. But for any questions you have, send them in. We'll try and get around to them. But
Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much.
thank you very much for
Shout out
watching.
to All Mat One for helping us out.
Big shout out because they've done bits.
They've done bits. To see the setup. Full casting couch. Sick. Was that too boring, do you reckon, or?